Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Crossover Sports Talk and Events. I'm your host and founder, Fazil Irshad. Welcome, everybody. Hope you guys are doing good. I got another special guest, local childhood friend of mine from high school days, Hussein. Hiyasat is one of
Hi,
my
it's not.
friends. Hiyasat. Apologies.
You good? You
From
good?
high school. One of my great friends, man. We've been always talking sports, playing sports together. We're gonna just get it cracking over here. Talking about what's going on in the sports world, especially in the NBA and the NFL. Lots of buzz going on right now. I just wanted to welcome him. Welcome to the show. Hussein, please introduce yourself. Where you're from and your sport background and everything, man. Let it have it. Go for it.
So, hey guys, my name's Hussein Hiyasat. I'm a good friend of Fazil, as you just mentioned. Yeah, every time I remember freshman year, the first time I met him, I had him in like one of my classes. It was health, was it? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, it was health. Yeah,
Man, we used to talk about sports all the time. We talked about the Warriors, the Lakers, the Niners back in their dark days. God, that was rough.
yeah.
Like with especially the Niners there. Oh my God.
The Chip Kelly days, right? And the Jim Tom Sula days, bro. Wasn't it? It was about those days, man. That was rough, man. I know we didn't get to see the glory times together, but I'm glad we got to recently witness some stuff. But those were some
Yeah, yeah.
times. I mean, yeah, the Warriors were up at that time. I remember
Oh
Lakers
yeah,
were
the
pretty
Warriors. The
down.
Warriors were peak
Yeah.
dynasty.
Yeah, peak dynasty, and then Kobe's ended his retirement during that time. I remember all of that. So it was a
Yeah, yeah.
time to be alive. Like the Super Bowl was here that year. I remember in 16. The not the World Cup. It was the Super Bowl. It was the NBA Finals. It was the World Series, not the World Series. It was the playoffs with the Giants in it, and the Sharks were in the Stanley Cup Final that year. So there was a lot going on in 2016 here in the Bay Area. Not only the sports world too, but I mean the Bay Area. You
Yeah.
know, so
Man,
yeah, I
2016.
was saying, yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, 2016, great sports year like ever. Even though
Yeah,
even though the Warriors didn't win that series, but still a
yeah,
great
yeah,
year. Still a
yeah.
great year.
Honestly, if they capped off that ring with that 73-9 team, honestly, like we'd be talking about that year left and right. Obviously, it'd be the greatest team ever, topping the 72-10 Bulls. I know it's different eras, but they didn't finish the job, so the Bulls do
Yeah,
remain with that. It's two different eras, but that Warriors team was great. Credit the Cavs. And as we would like to talk about that was also a game 7, in the NBA Finals. And that was the last game 7 since this past Sunday that we'd had
yeah.
with the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder. What a series. I would like to say two small market teams. I'd like to congratulate them, congratulate the Oklahoma City Thunder. They just had their parade today, with their fans bringing back the Larry O'Brien trophy. So, and to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander on a great year with the scoring title, the league MVP, Western Conference Finals, and the NBA Finals MVP. We want to congratulate them, but we also feel pretty gutted for Tyrese Halliburton. Brock Purdy's, went to school with him at Iowa State. He played for the Kings, got traded over to Indiana, built that culture there. I kind of feel for him, man. That torn Achilles in that game 7, he gave it his all. And they came up just short, man. But I'd like to get your thoughts, Hussein, on the finals in game 7 and how you think that series went, and what do you think moving forward for both teams? Go ahead.
So first things first, man. Like SGA, man, he had probably the one of the best seasons I've ever seen a player have in recent memory. You know, like you said, scoring title, MVP, championship, and then Finals MVP. The last person to do that was literally LeBron in 2013, or was it 2012?
I think it was LeBron. I think it was LeBron or Steph. They said they were talking about Steph, not the scoring title. The scoring title, I think that was Shaquille O'Neal, if I'm not corrected. But yeah, LeBron did come to the name. If I'm the first one, like for these accolades to have in one season, like I think it was NBA Finals MVP and regular season MVP was Curry back in 2014-15. It would have been him the following year if they won, the championship. But I mean, that didn't happen. But I think it was going to be him or LeBron, but it was actually Shaquille O'Neal that
Oh,
did it in the
Shaquille.
2000 Lakers when he had Kobe. Ironically, they beat the Pacers in 6 games. It was Reggie Miller and the Pacers. So doesn't that be crazy?
Yeah,
So
crazy.
SGA, man, he had a wonderful season, man. Credit to him. People just call him a free throw merchant or whatever it is, but
It's
he,
if you
he's
call him a free throw merchant, you clearly don't watch basketball.
yeah,
Like
you gotta
a
watch
lot
how
of
he plays.
players did that.
Absolutely. A lot of players do that. Like they get the body pump, they call a foul, right? I mean, maybe they gets a little more because of the superstar fandom that he has and the treatment he gets from the refs. But his mid range, his 3-pointers, his defense, his long arms, like his leadership and all that, you can see how crafty and silky he is, which is what makes him great. You know, that's what I've seen, especially in the playoffs. So I really appreciate, what he did and, for the league and especially the 2 small markets. It's good to see, last 7 years, bro, there's been a new NBA champion. No one's repeated or we don't see a dynasty right now. It's good.
It is so far. I mean, I think OKC might be the next one just because of like how young they are.
Yeah, honestly, they're super young. I do agree. Like they were talking about like they're gonna have this team together for quite some time. Like they're gonna pay Chet, they're gonna pay J-Dubs, Jalen Williams. They already have SGA, and they have a boatload of first-round picks. Sam Presti, credit to the executive, the president, the GM of the team, the ownership that they have, like building them. They finally broke through and got a ring. The KD Westbrook Harden era couldn't get one, or the Westbrook KD one, and these guys ended up breaking through and getting the ring for Oklahoma City since they moved from Seattle back in the days. So when they moved here back in 07, 08, 09, that was their first year relocating from Seattle. Yeah, 08. Yeah, so credit to them, man. I mean, what do you see moving forward for the Pacers, man? Like Halliburton probably going to miss the whole year, and they might lose some players they were talking about.
I mean, man, when I saw Halliburton go down, I was devastated because before he went down, like he looked like he was going to put up a crazy Game 7 performance. Like this was going to go down to the wire. But in terms of like the Pacers, the thing is they don't have talent. That they're not going to have Halliburton the whole next season. So I mean, I would try to keep the team together because you saw what the team did, like when it was together and fully healthy. Took them to the finals.
Absolutely, bro. Like, and people were saying like Cinderella and all that, but Ben, he was having one of the clutchest postseasons we've probably ever seen. Like we're talking about Jordan, we're talking about Kobe, LeBron, Steph, KD, like the clutchness of those players. Like he was up there, like the game winners, the tight games. That wasn't just game 1 and all those games that they stole. They did it many. It was like 5 or 6, maybe 7 times Halliburton and the Pacers did it. They're going to have him miss for the year. And then I think they're saying like players are going to get paid, depending on how free agency goes. They do have a great coaching staff, a great culture there with Rick Carlisle and the boys, So we'll see what happens with them. I'm gutted for them. Jason Tatum tore his Achilles. Damian Lillard tore his Achilles. I may miss some other players that got hurt. Giannis may be on the move out from Milwaukee. So it's going to be a pretty interesting offseason. And as I want to get into that with you, man, what do you think of these trades so far? And the first one I want to talk with you about is Kevin Durant, bro. Kevin Durant getting traded for a 10th pick over first round pick, the 10th pick, 5 second-round picks, and Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks getting shipped to the Phoenix Suns for Kevin Durant. 37-year-old Kevin Durant. Not saying he's old, like always like that, but he's still averaging 25 points a game. And I think the Rockets were looking for that scorer. What do you think of that trade, man?
I mean, it was pretty obvious KD was going to get traded. The question was, where was he going to get traded? Because it was clear as day the Suns weren't going anywhere. That whole team, the Suns are a disaster right now. But I mean, the Rockets, they definitely got a good like value for KD. Only gave up 1 first-round pick. Well, they did give up a couple like 5 second-round picks. But for Kevin Durant, like, and what he's able to perform, that's honestly like kind of a steal in my opinion.
Honestly, yeah, because I thought they would ask for more, but then people were like saying like they gave up a young Jalen Green, a 23-year-old Jalen Green. Also Dylan Brooks, they were saying they could have kept Dylan Brooks and maybe the 10th pick and gave 5 first-rounders, but the Suns were like trying to catch up on all of they were trying to recoup as much as they could, I think, for Kevin Durant. They did get a young guy. They got a vet in Dylan Brooks and some picks so they can recoup off of, right? So we'll see what they do. But the Rockets were lacking that go-to scorer in that fourth quarter, or that score that they needed, right? A consistent score, as you saw against the Warriors. They did push him to 7 games, but hey, man, they're a huge threat to win it all now, and we'll see how that goes, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. And then what do you think of Jrue Holiday getting shipped out? I know the Celtics were talking about it. You know, Shams Charania from ESPN did report that the Celtics were going to get rid of players like Porzingis. Just got shipped out today to Atlanta, and then Jrue Holiday is now in New Orleans, right?
No,
Orleans,
Portland,
right?
Portland.
No, Portland. Oh no, he got traded for Portland for Anthony Simons, right? That trade.
Yeah. That's Jordan. Yeah. That's Jordan Poole. That's who.
Yeah,
that's who got traded to the Pelicans.
Jordan Poole and the Pelicans. You know, CJ McCollum there, and then so that's going to be a different trajectory of that team. So, what do you think of that trade? Jrue Holiday getting shipped out.
I mean, I don't look at it more as like the Blazers benefiting. I look at it more as the Celtics trying to like figure out this whole new. The Celtics are about to look like a whole different team now, like because they're not going to have Tatum because he's going to be out for the year. They just traded Jrue Holiday, and now they just traded Kristaps. Like, all they really have left is Jaylen Brown, and like, I'd like to say he's going to stay, and they're going to keep him and like work with it, but you never know what could happen. Like, he's in a lot of trade talks lately, but man, the Celtics are about to look like a whole different team.
Yeah, man,
it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, man. You're definitely right. The East is going to look very, very different next year, man. Like, Tatum's out probably for the year too, right? He just recently tore his Achilles. He's not going to be back. I think he's going to recover, rehab, like Halliburton did. It's like a month between both of those injuries, right? It was in the semifinals, so it was about a month in between for those two. So they're possibly out for likely the whole season. So for the Celtics, I did see that Jaylen Brown rumor. I don't know if they're gonna move off of him because I was like, no, they just paid him. He was the Finals MVP last year, and he's other than Tatum, he picks it up. He picks up the slack, and then they're gonna keep. I don't know with Peyton Pritchard. They got Derek White maybe on the way out. There were rumors of him going to the Warriors or the Lakers. I was hearing, and then fitting as a 3-and-D player, it's gonna really look really different in the East. Honestly, for them, I would say in the Eastern Conference now that Indiana, who knows how they're going to look, they're talking about the Knicks. Bro, the Knicks didn't lose anybody. The Knicks just need that head coach to get them possibly over the hump. So, the East is pretty much wide open. And then what do you think of that, of the Eastern Conference next year? Detroit Pistons, a young up-and-coming?
This might be a hot take. I'm about to come up with something pretty hot. A team that low-key, like, if they don't do it this year, then the window is officially closed. Like, you might as well shut it, just trade everybody. If the Sixers can stay healthy, like, this is their one shot. Because you're not going to have the Pacers in the way. The Celtics are not going to be in your way. The Knicks, they still look good, but they just need to figure out that coaching situation. The Bucks don't have Damian Lillard anymore. Like, and they have, like, all they have to go up against is the Pistons so far, like, is the real competitor. Because aside from that, like, for Philly, like, this finals window is literally wide open right now. You've got to take that shot.
I absolutely agree with that. Celtics injury and them shipping out some players did relieve some cap space, right? And then the Pacers getting hurt, the Knicks still there, the Pistons, and the Orlando Magic acquiring. We forgot, I think, mentioning Desmond Bane, right? Giving away Pope and those. But I mean, with him to go with Paolo Banchero, man, dude, the East is. You're right. You don't have a definitive team that can go in and just take it right away. You don't like, oh, I have these two teams. The Cavaliers, right? We got the Cavs. We can't forget about them. But, I mean, this is wide open as clear. I don't have it. Honestly, if you were to tell me right now, maybe after free agency, when we see how it goes, it could be possibly very different. But you're right. The East is clearly wide open.
Anybody could take it.
And then, all right, guys, now I'd like to mention some sponsors. Thank you for all the viewers right now currently looking. Check out Alfredo Melendez, real estate advisor, KOLLAB Real Estate. You can reach him at alfredo@collabray.com. Call him at 408-568-8288 in California, 408-868-568. My apologies, 8288, and his license number down there. And then also I'd like to mention Your Taco Guy. Livermore's local family-owned Tequiza Catering, authentic Mexican food, and top-tier service. You can call in the ticker below, 925-339-5857 to book. #YourTacoGuy925. So I will keep all the sponsors in the link below. You can reach out to them for any of your needs for real estate, food. I got all my sponsors there. You guys can reach out to them. Please reach out to them if you like any service for real estate, looking for a home, or any food you'd like to check out with your taco lovers. You can check it out. All right, Hussein, I'd like to get in forward with you about the Warriors and the Lakers now. What do you think the Warriors should do this offseason for Steph? People were talking about, they got Jimmy Butler. Are they going to revamp that team, get another star? And the Lakers trying to acquire a center, for Luka and LeBron, for a last hoorah possibly for LeBron. What do you think the Warriors should do in this offseason? How do you think they should approach it to possibly get a ring next year? The West is loaded, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the thing. The West is the Warriors are a really, really hard team to figure this out. I mean, I was gonna say go get Steven Adams, but Steven Adams just re-signed. So, and they do have Miles Turner is a free agent, but I doubt the Pacers are gonna just let him walk. So, if I were to say to get a center, try do everything you can to get Naz Reid, because that's really the only guy that they really have available and who could actually fit this team perfectly. But the other thing is I don't know, the Warriors are kind of in a tough situation because the West is getting better and better. And there are a lot of young teams too. So I mean, I don't know. I love the Warriors and everything, but I don't know. I don't think the window's open for much longer.
You kind of hit the nail on the pin for that, man. I don't feel so good about it either. Possibly this was the year. Steph unfortunately had that hamstring injury. If they got past the Wolves, they won that first game, and people were saying all they needed was one. And they had Jimmy Butler, and I thought he was honestly going to win a game for them, which was game 3 that they had. And they possibly could have played the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. But honestly, man, it's kind of looking rough now, man. The Rockets got better. The Lakers are still good. The Grizzlies maybe a little bit on the Thunder. Or, you can't forget about the champs, the Thunder, the Denver Nuggets. There's the Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flag, the potential number 1 pick, getting Kyrie Irving back. You have Klay Thompson. If you have a healthy AD, they just paid Gafford, right? So they're going to be pretty dangerous, man. The West is 10 deep, bro, or 10, 11 teams deep. I'm missing out some teams, man, but
you can't forget the Spurs.
Can't forget the Spurs.
If Wemby and Fox are healthy, that's going to be a problem.
And then they have Wemby, right? A young Wemby with Chris Paul, right? As you were saying, of Vassell, Castle, and all those guys. There were rumors of them getting Kevin Durant. So, honestly, man, dude, this is going to be a pretty interesting year. The West is probably going to be the team that comes out of the West, man. They're going to be, I think, drained heading into that finals. So if you're in the Eastern Conference, you probably might be licking your chops right now. Going to the if you make the finals, come out of the East next year, you got to be feeling good. Hey, the team that comes out of the West is going to be dead tired probably. I know both teams will be tired, but in trajectory of the hardship, I think if you look at the difficulty of the competition that they'll face, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be a battle for any Western team. To get to the finals, it's going to be a literal battle.
100%, man. Honestly, I would love to see, our teams. We both grew up. We love Kobe. We always would love to see Kobe win. And then locally, we love the Warriors, right? We have Steph Curry and the Warriors. Would love to see him get a 5th ring and just ride off to the sunset and retire from that with him, Draymond, and Jimmy Butler possibly getting his 1st ring, right? After losing 2 in Miami. That would be something cool to see, but in a big market too. So we shall see. Also like to mention another sponsor, guys, for sale. AJ and Michelle Chand, Real Estate and Loans. You can call 916-549-2425. Once again, that's 916-549-2425. Ajanesh.chand@xprealty.com. Sponsored by Crossover Sports Talk. Please reach out to them for any real estate needs as well. In the Sacramento, Elk Grove area, they can help you out. All right, Hussein, moving forward, what do you think about the Lakers, man? How do you think they should approach this? Also, I wanted to mention the Bus family, after owning them for 4 decades, have just sold them at $10 billion valuation to CEO Mark Walto, TWG Global. He also owns the Dodgers. He got Shohei Yamamoto, right? Yeah, Yamamoto, and then Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, and Freddie Freeman and those guys, and he's a big spender. How do you think he's going to like approach the Lakers team? You know, although Jeannie Buss is still the governor of the Lakers, how do you think the Lakers should approach this offseason to get that title, the 18th title, and LeBron possibly getting his 5th, Luka getting his 1st?
I mean, so when you look at last season, the Lakers, the season ended kind of on a rough note. But honestly, if you're a Lakers fan, like, you should be thrilled that this is going to be your offseason, because you don't have to worry about what's the future going to be, because you literally just got Luka for basically nothing. And during this offseason, you're gonna have quite a bit of cap space to work with, because they do have a lot of like expiring contracts, and plus they just sold the team for like $10 billion, which is insane. So, and like you said, what was his name again?
Mark Walter, CEO. Yeah, TWG Global. He's the CEO of that, and then he owns the Dodgers too.
Yeah, he owns the Dodgers, and we saw how much he spent on O'Shea Ohtani. Yeah. Unfortunately, as a Giants fan, that was a killer.
I know, man. Hey, man, with the Giants, though, I know where you're going with baseball, man. Rafael Devers, man. Bro, Buster Posey's out there, you know, playing. It's going to be cool to see. I'm excited about them, too. You know, They got the best bullpen in the league right now. And if they just get in the postseason, it'd be cool to get them another magic run like they had with Bruce Bochy, and they won those 3 World Series, you know. He was the debating X factor. Like, he was the reason why, you know, main reason why we couldn't really hit as much, had all those hitters. But when the Giants got to the postseason, they were the most, like, they had, like, the pressure didn't get to them, and they just seemed locked in, and they just went in and beat everybody. They weren't afraid of nothing.
But like for the Lakers, honestly, this is about to be a fun off season for them. They have a guy who's not afraid to take risks and spend money on players. They have a lot of cap space. They have Luka and LeBron to look forward to. Like, if you're a Lakers fan, I'd say get your popcorn. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I was telling, you know, my cousins that I have there and some friends that are Laker fans. And I mean, I do love the Lakers too. Not going to lie. I do love them. I do have a heart for them. So honestly, man, you're licking your chops in this offseason and be like, which center do we want? Like, which 3-and-D, which wing player can we get for Luka or LeBron? And even when LeBron retires, you got Luka for another 10 years, you know?
Exactly.
And, you know, he's looking in shape right now with the way, you know, he's been working out and how he's been eating. He's taking care of himself. So, like, this is going to be, like, if you're a Laker fan, man, you should be ecstatic. Like, you can expect them, if they come out of the West, like, if there's a team, like, I would never count out LeBron. You know, he's one of the greatest of all time. He's on my Mount Rushmore, as I said in my last episode. But they can win it all for sure. Yeah.
Yes, especially. Yeah, because they got Luke on that vegan diet instead of that Texas barbecue.
Yeah. People are saying he's on that diet, like, man, like he's just ready for the season. I think they're really even motivated after losing in that first round, and how the way they lost. They knew they lost because of the length and the size of the Minnesota Timberwolves. So getting size on that team with Luka, a lob threat, or in some defense, the Lakers could be a favorite on my end, possibly coming out of the West. All right. Definitely. And then also wanted to mention another sponsor, Geancarlo and Zeena Carmona, licensed financial professionals. They help individuals and families build generational wealth, eliminate debt, and protect their family future through global financial impact. # global financial impact, wealth building, crossover sports talk, and financial freedom. You can please reach out to Zeena and Geancarlo. I have right here with their email on the ticker right here. Zeena is ZeenaYassin063@gmail.com. Her phone number is 510-461-2496. And Geancarlo, who is her husband, geancarlowf@gmail.com. His phone number is 858-405-6743. You can reach out to them. They will help out with you at any financial needs. All right, Hussein, now I'd like to transfer over sports. We'd like to crossover, as we like to call it, to the NFL. Man, the Eagles, man, they're Super Bowl champs. You know, they just came off a thrashing for the Kansas City Chiefs in that Super Bowl, and now we head on to the offseason, especially our team. I know we want to talk about them first. There's a lot to talk about, and then we'll get into some other things in the division, in the conference, and what's going on. The San Francisco 49ers, bro. We did hire Robert Saleh, got him back as our DC, which I think was the biggest move this offseason. And honestly, we did lose some guys, but they were old. We got off some contracts. with Hufanga losing Greenlaw hurt the most, losing Debo, trading Debo away, and then Charvarius Ward. I loved him as a Niner too, a solid corner. We did draft a lot on the D line with Mikael Williams, CJ West, Alfred Collins, a linebacker, Nick Martin, and then a safety Sigel, and then also with Connor Colby on the lineman. We're going to get Ayuk back this year. There's Ricky Pearsall heading into the second year. Kittle being an All-Pro. McCaffrey fully healthy. Purdy, Fred Warner, and Kittle, all coming off extension and contracts. What do you see this season, especially with the schedule the Niners have, one of the easiest schedules in the league, and the Super Bowl being at Levi's? What do you expect from our Niners this year, bro?
Well, it's when you look at this team, it's completely different, especially on the defensive end. Like, aside from Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, like the two veteran guys, like everyone else is gone. Like, it's a whole, like, it's almost like a new era at this point on the defense. Now, when I look at the schedule, we have literally the easiest schedule. Like, I'm not kidding. If this team is fully healthy, if we do not win at least 12 games, this team sucks. Just flat out simple. That's all I really got to say.
I completely agree with you. In the context of people were saying was no question about it. The way the schedule lined up, it couldn't have lined up any better for the Niners. Having that bye week later too, and always when they start 2 games on the road, like it's something about that I wanted to tell a lot of people. When the Niners start 2 games on the road, usually it's not really tough opponents. When they go 2-0 and then they come home for that third game, and they win those first 2, they usually end up in the Super Bowl or the conference championship. Like if you look at 19, when they beat the Bucks and then they whooped on the Bengals that following week, they were 2-0 coming back and played the Steelers. And then, it was like 3-0 trap game. And they ended up winning. Same thing that happened a few years ago in 23 when they started first 2 on the road. They whooped on Pittsburgh. They went into a division rival with the Rams. They beat them in the late game, by 10, being clutch. And then also coming home and then, beating the Giants on a short week. And then it kind of led that momentum into that season to give them that confidant, like, hey, we have the team, we have the roster, we have the coaching staff. We want to get the 1 seed and we want to get the home field advantage and we want to go to the Super Bowl, which I think is they're starting again on the road this year, 2 games. They're going to Seattle, division rival, and then they're going to New Orleans. And then they come home, right, to face the Arizona Cardinals, which is his division opponent. I kind of see a trajectory in that, but also there's a lot of rookies on the team, right? That's people like they're unproven. They have to prove themselves, but they have that experience in the coordinator. We don't have Nick Sorensen as a DC. We have Robert
Thank
Saleh
God.
now.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank God. Yeah, they have Nick Bosa's still there, right? Fred Warner's to lead the pack, and then Malik Mustafa also, and Jair Brown being in a different position there, and Deommodore Lenoir, Renardo Green's there, so. They'll look pretty good. The offense, honestly, they're going to get more chances of throwing the ball around and spread the ball around. I know Debo got traded. Shanahan loved to use Debo in his game plan packages a lot. Now they can spread the ball around with, there's Ricky, there's Jawan Jennings, there's Brandon Ayuk, there's Jamarcus Robinson that's going to come after 3 games possibly. So Purdy's going to be able to sling that rock more and they'll be able to run the ball more. So, yeah. What do you think? Do you think they're going to get 12 wins or more, possibly less? It really depends. Especially
everything just has to go right. Like the defense, everything has to keep moving efficiently. Everyone, the defense has to be on the same page as Robert Saleh. And then for the offense, Ayuk's got to get back. Pearsall, I have a lot of high hopes for him because later on in the season, I saw them use him a little more. Like he started to get more touches than Debo at some points in during the season. I don't know. It really depends. Like the offense really depends on Ricky Pearsall, in my opinion, because he's the guy that's kind of make or break. Because like you said, Debo got traded, and I think the plan for Shanahan is, or his plan is, can Pearsall replace Debo Samuel?
Yeah. Honestly, with Ricky Pearsall in his second year, I know he got shot, right? Remember, he had that tragedy of getting shot, and then coming back from that, his training camp got ruined. And him coming back, like you said, he picked it up later in the year. You saw against Detroit, Arizona, and then against Tampa Bay. Back in the day, he had his first touchdown, the speed, the route running, the footwork he has. I think he's going to be great. Like you said, it really depends. A lot has to go right. And my number one thing is, health. If the Niners are healthy, bro, this
You can't
team
beat them.
can be healthy. And a lot of people, I had another friend that told me too. He said that if the Niners, I wouldn't be shocked if they have the number 1 seed. People are saying with all these rookies or whatnot, but I was like, they have the experience still. They still have Kyle Shanahan at head coach too. And like, he's still there calling the plays, leading the offense. I wouldn't be shocked if they have the number 1 seed by the end of the season. If they're all healthy and with the schedule they have and everything goes right, like a lot of things have to go right in order for, NFL season to go well for a team.
Mm-hmm.
Be right there. We do have a comment here I'd like to mention from Faiza Ali, going back to basketball. She says, with Jonathan Kuminga entering restricted free agency, how crucial do you think his development and contract decision will be for the Warriors championship window over the next few years? This is actually a very good question. Thank you for the question, Faiza. I really appreciate it. This is interesting because he is a key cog for the Warriors in their championship run, because as Steve Kerr didn't really play him against Houston, he did play him a lot against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And when he played, he was averaging like 20, 30 a game. He would pull up. He would play a lot more minutes. And people were wondering, why didn't Steve Kerr use him more? I think he could be possibly a sign-and-trade piece for the Warriors, and possibly Warriors getting another star. Or they might, him and Joe Lacob and Steve Kerr in that relationship, they can re-sign him and give him another shot to build with the Warriors and try to get over that championship hunt. What do you think, Hussein, about this question from Faiza about, are they going to sign him on that restricted free agency, or are they going to sign and trade him? He could be a trade bait. What do you think about this question?
I mean, I think Kuminga wants to stay in Golden State, and I think his teammates want him there as well. The question, and even the front office, I believe they do. The question is, does Steve Kerr want him? Because we saw like when he plays, he can score. He can score the ball very well. The problem is, it's depending on Steve Kerr's mood if he wants to play him or not. So ultimately, it depends on Steve.
I absolutely agree, because the way he used him, like he did go to his office like last year, or I think it was beginning of this year. Before he got hurt, he was balling too in the regular season. Like in January or February, he got hurt with that ankle injury, right? And then he was like averaging 20 before the Butler trade, and he was playing lights out. He was playing really good. And then he got hurt, and that set him back. And then, he's playing for that contract extension too, for the money, he deserves, like, after being a first-round pick, the 7th pick in the draft in 2022 season. He won the championship as a rookie with Moses Moody there. I think, honestly, you're right. The front office wants him. The teammates love him. They know he's talented. He's an athletic freak and everything. But the thing is, it's Steve Kerr, I think. Steve Kerr's a great coach. He's led a dynasty, 4 titles in 8 seasons. I think, honestly, with Jonathan Kuminga, with him, how he uses him, you got to use him the right way. You got to give him more minutes and give him that opportunity in order. He's got to play a lot with Steph Curry and Draymond and Jimmy Butler, I think, in order to have that, because he was playing a lot. He was saving the Warriors, I think, in that Wolves series. And if, they had a little bit more from like Pajemski, I'd say, and the Moses Moody's of the world and Quentin Post and all them, they could have won that game 3, which they should have won, right? And who knows? We would have probably seen a series by then. So, yeah, what do you think of that?
No, definitely. I absolutely agree. It really just – I hope Steve Kerr can, put his pride and ego aside and just see, okay, he could be a great player. He could help this team. Let's keep him, play him more minutes, maybe some games get him into the starting role like they did with Jordan Poole back in the day, where there were some games he would actually start. I think they should take that path.
Yeah, they're trying to fit him into that Jordan Poole role when they won that championship back in 21-22. Jordan Poole was a key cog of that series, against Boston in the playoffs, and they were talking about PTSD. There was Poole, it was Poole, Thompson, Steph, and Draymond, right? They were they had a nickname for him, PTSD. I was like, oh, and I was like, yeah, they're giving teams PTSD with that lineup. And then yeah, it's kind of different now, now that Poole's gone too, but I think with Kuminga, he probably is trade bait, in my opinion. That's what I think. The Warriors want someone. I think they want someone, and I think they're probably going to go get someone. Who knows? Possibly a Giannis. They have the assets. They did. A lot of teams talk about it. They do have it. So we shall see. We shall see. And then going back to football, Hussein, I'd love to say about the Niners, who do you think in the NFC especially on that Niners schedule, who do you think's a threat? What do you think of the weaknesses? Do you think the O-line is a weakness from the Niners? And who do you think is a threat in the NFC? Like, that can possibly repeat? Like, you have the Philadelphia Eagles, obviously the repeating champs, the Detroit Lions, the Commanders, Packers, Rams. What do you think?
Well, we'll start with the Niners and the weaknesses. The weakness is still the O-line. Like, aside from Dominic Puni and Trent Williams, it's basically nothing. And like, and I was very upset that the Niners did not address the O-line, because that was clearly the biggest need. Because we saw Purdy get sacked so many times when, like, especially when Trent was out for a little bit. Like, Purdy was doing the best he could, but like, he's a guard at the end of the day. You're not asking him to shut the whole D line down. Eventually, others have to work. They all have to work with each other, and unfortunately, it just didn't work like that.
Yeah,
but in terms of like NFC like teams that are on our schedule, I used to ask people this question, like, what was your biggest hot take going into the NFL season, like, just in general? And the hot take that I came up with was, I think the Bears finish as a top 3 team in the NFC.
Whoa, yeah, man. Whoa, the Bears, huh?
It's just because, like, you have Caleb Williams. He had a rough season, but he showed a lot of potential.
He did.
And then
he did.
You replaced the head coach with Ben Johnson, who is an amazing offensive play caller.
Mm-hmm.
They still have DJ Moore. They still have Roma Dunze. They just drafted who was it Tyler Warren, or
did they get Warren? Or no, they got a different tight end.
It was the other tight end.
Yeah, they added a different tight end. I know. I was shocked they passed on Warren too. That was crazy, but they got him. The defense is still great. Like, I don't know. What do you look? When I looked at this team, I'm just like, there's just no way they could fail. Like, if everything goes right, they could be like a really elite team, like, in the NFC. Yeah, bro. Like, man, that question everyone's been asked. When are the Bears going to be good? Like, they always acquire all this talent. Like Caleb, Ben Johnson coming from Detroit, like possibly the best offensive coordinator currently that was on the market. This is like heaven, I think, for Caleb Williams. They have those threats, with Roma Dunze, especially, with the O-line, what they did with Drew Dahlman, right? And who else did they get? Thuney, right? They added Thuney.
Yeah, they had Joe Thuney.
Yeah. So they built that O-line. They was possibly they were struggling with people were talking about, like why Caleb Williams was getting sacked a lot. I think the difference was always the coaching in Chicago, right? So now that they got rid of Eberflus, you saw the way they handled late game situations, especially on Thanksgiving against Detroit.
I remember watching that.
Everyone was like, "What are they doing? Why aren't they calling a timeout?" Like,
I was literally doing this. There. I'm like, timeout.
I was looking at my TV, and I was like, "Call him timeout, man! All you need is a field goal or something." Yep. And then I was just like, "No, he's not calling timeout." And then Caleb Williams just randomly threw it to the end zone. Nobody was there, and they lost. So, like, the Bears
horrible clock management.
Horrible clock management, man. It's kind of reminding me of our team, but different ways, the way we do it, right? So, but I mean, hopefully we shall see with Chicago. I do have high hopes for them. The Niners do face them on Sunday night, Week 17 here at Levi's, so that'll be a fun game to go see. But I want to just first see them. We keep saying, like, on paper the Bears look good. On paper, that we got to see y'all play on the field first. You got to prove it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
They got to go play and do it. So
I do like Chicago. If they go right,
yeah, I do like Chicago a lot. A lot of experts like them too. Analysts like them too. So we shall see. Green Bay's still there. Detroit's still there. That's an interesting team to me. Is the Lions? How are they gonna fare after losing coordinators? Frank Ragnow just retired, right? All-Pro center. That's massive to the Lions. So Dan Campbell's a great coach, excellent motivator. Mm-hmm. So much emotion that gets involved with him. So, like, I love him as a head coach. I think he's a great head coach. But there are times where, hey, Dan, you want to gamble, right? And then he ends up costing the team, So, like,
especially the NFC Championship. Oh my God.
Yeah, last year I was at that game too when it was Lions. That is like, hey, they were saying, like, if Dan Campbell was ever at a blackjack table or he was playing casino, hit me.
He's gonna keep saying it until I'm like, you're kind of over it. It's like, just keep going, hit me again, hit me
again. Yeah. He's like, hit me. I want to play, you know. But I mean, he's a great coach, man. Like they fight for him, man. The Lions, I love their team. Like they're grit when it's grit and grind. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown, you know, Jared Goff, their running backs in Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. I like that team. And Agent Hutchinson coming back, right? So they're gonna be solid. Yeah, man. His injury with that air cast they had, and it was heartbreaking to see. But he's gonna be back next season. And then, bro, let's get to the NFC. To the AFC now. We'll get back, you know, with the Rams and Eagles. Eagles will still be there, in my opinion. You know,
they did lose. Yeah, the Eagles aren't going anywhere.
They aren't going anywhere. Howie Roseman loves building that O line and D line. But going back to the defense, going back to the AFC, I'd like to say, bro, that's a dogfight. You've got obviously Kansas City. People are like, oh, is this going to be done? Yeah, Kelsey may be on the way, but they still have 15 back there with Mahomes. You got Josh Allen in the Bills. You got Lamar Jackson in the Ravens. And then you have C.J. Stroud in the Texans. There's Justin Herbert in the Chargers. Bro, and I may be missing a few teams.
Burrow and the Bengals.
Burrow and the Bengals, you know, if they build that defense and they do something for him, right?
If he gets at least an average defense like that, they're a scary team.
A playoff team. They're scary as hell. Yeah, no question. And I love Joe Burrow, too. What do you think, man? What do you think? Yeah, what do you think of the AFC? How do you think that will probably unfold? I know it's early, but what do you think?
Well, like you said, the AFC is super competitive. A lot of all the best teams are in the AFC, like the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs. You know, the Bengals. If the defense plays at least average, they're definitely gonna be a great team. You know, the Texans, they're definitely still gonna be pretty good. Who else?
I love C.J. Stroud. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks. Yeah,
C.J. Stroud is really good. Very humble guy too. Nothing but respect for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is that?
Who else? Do you think? What do you think of? Oh, but Denver, man. Denver slightly with Bo Nix. They had that rookie year he had, and they were that Denver's defense would be a no-fly zone. Adding Greenlaw and Hufanga, and then Jahdae Barron, right? That they drafted in the first round. A lot of Bronco fans were confused. They wanted a running back. They did draft a running back, but bro, that defense might be no-fly zone. Like, I don't think anybody's going to be able to throw on them.
No, the Broncos definitely, they're a team to watch out in the future. Probably not this season, but I'd say in 2 to 3 years, they'll definitely be there's going to be a chance they're going to be competing for winning the division against Kansas City.
Yeah. I wouldn't bet you on that, bro, but I could see that happen, bro. My dad was talking to me about that too. He's like, don't sleep on Denver. Don't sleep on Denver. They may have lost in the first round. They had a rookie quarterback, but that defense is solid as hell. You know, Sean Payton's coaching them. And then the offense, they finally got a quarterback.
Bo Nix looks like a legit guy.
He's legit. He's legit, in my opinion. And also, hold on, Hussein, 1 second. A sponsor, Ibnaez, Wahid, broker associate, realtor with Berkshire, Hathaway, HomeServices, Elite Real Estate. Phone number is 510-329-3927. That's his direct number. There's also another phone number you can reach out is 916-667-3465. You can reach him out at IBOhomes@gmail.com. He serves the Bay Area and the greater Sacramento area. He also buys and sells, so you can check him out as well. All right, Hussein. Going back, to the NFL, I would like to get on. What do you think of the Niners division rivals do you think they got better or worse in the Rams, Cardinals, or Seahawks? We'll start with the division winner that almost took out the Eagles in that snowy divisional round game of the Stafford, Nakua adding Devontae Adams. They look like a huge threat to me, man. I think they're going to battle out with the Niners eventually in this year. What do you think of the Rams?
Yeah, they're not going to be the same old sorry-ass Rams anymore. No, they're actually going to be –
yeah, no question about it.
They're going to be an actual threat to us. Puka Nakua is – even though I hate the Rams, I love Puka. Puka is he's really one of those players. It's just kind of hard to hate.
Yeah, you can't hate him. Yeah.
Matthew Stafford, he still looks pretty good. I have a lot of respect for him.
I wanted him, man, as a Niner quarterback back in 21.
Even he thought he was going to go to the Niners. He even said in an interview, he's like, I for surely without a doubt thought I was going to San Francisco, but then LA called me, and then I ended up in LA.
Yeah, they beat him to the punch. They beat him to the punch. Yeah.
Devontae, even though he had a little kind of downish year, because he's been in 2 pretty tough tough scenarios with the Raiders, and then he went to the Jets, and it didn't work out for either one of them. I think he bounces back with the Rams because we saw it happen with OBJ. He went from a dysfunctional team on the Giants, then went to a dysfunctional team like Cleveland. Then once he came back to LA, he kind of revived his career. I definitely see that same thing happening to Devontae Adams, and then
100%. And
then we're not even talking about the defense. Jared Verse. He looks. Yeah, Jared Verse looks. Man, he's going to be really good. The Rams are going to be a problem. But
did you see he was working out with Aaron Donald?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Rams are going to be a problem, bro. Yeah, Ahkello Witherspoon looks revived too, man. I forgot he was even on that team. Remember?
Yeah, I remember Ahkello Witherspoon.
Yeah. We forgot about Kyron Williams too, bro. Remember him?
Oh, how did I not mention it? Kyron Williams.
Kyron Williams is good.
Yeah, this team. God damn, this team actually is gonna. This team might compete for like a top, like an NFC
title.
Like
they can possibly play the Niners. I think they're gonna battle out 100% with the Niners, bro. That Thursday night game is probably you want to circle. That first one where we're gonna face them in Week 5. When it's going to be Niners will be on the road. I don't know if we're going to be on the road. It's going to be Levi South.
It's Levi South, boy.
Yeah, but it's going to be Levi South. We know we're going to fill that stadium in red. But dude, yeah, Stafford, you got Nicole Adams. The way I think you're right, especially with Sean McVay and the way he orchestrates his offense. It's like the way Shanahan does. He puts players in positions to succeed. He's going to make you good. He's going to make you succeed. And you're like, I don't even know why I'm playing so good. Like, he's not in a dysfunctional organization no more that doesn't know what they're doing. He's somewhere where they know what they're doing. And, like, Stafford knows where to go with the ball. He's a veteran. He's a Super Bowl champion. And McVay's a great coach. And they have a good young defense that gave the Eagles trouble. And the Eagles dismantled everybody in the playoffs. They did eventually, they got to Green Bay late fourth quarter, dismantled them, put that game out of reach. They destroyed the Commanders. They destroyed the Chiefs. They didn't destroy the Rams.
No, it went down to the wire.
It went down to the wire, and they only lost by 6. And they were like a 4th down, a Jalen Carter save away from winning that game. Like that's how crazy we cannot take. No one. I don't say oh, I wouldn't be shocked if the Rams came out of the NFC, right? So they're a threat. Arizona, to me, Kyler Murray, they're always weird, but they're always a little frisky. Like, they end up splitting with the Niners. They beat the Niners in weird fashion, like the way Seattle does too. But the way that team is built, I wanted Walter Nolan so badly, and they ended up taking him. But I understand the Michael Williams pick, where people told me oh yeah, there's 3 guys I was looking at. It was Michael Williams, Walter Nolan, and Jalen Walker. So I was like, either of those 3 get picked, I'll be happy. But my preferable one, number 1, was going to be Walter Nolan. Because the way he rushes inside, the run, the stop, and the end on pass rushing downs up the middle. He's going to clog those lanes. And then it was Michael Williams sets the edge and then develops into a pass rusher. And then on the NASCAR downs, where they're going to just speed with Bryce Huff, Bosa, Michael, and CJ West, and Alfred Collins or something. And he's just going to blow past guards when he plays inside, which can make the Niners – just like that 2019 defensive line. We're unstoppable. So what do you think of Arizona? And then they also got Will Johnson, who you really wanted to. I know you told me before.
Yeah, I wanted Will Johnson really badly.
Yeah.
I know we didn't need a quarter, but man, Will Johnson was when you saw him in college, that man had Patrick Surtain potential. So that's why I really wanted him. But in terms of the Cardinals, I don't know if they're going to be a threat because they're still trying to figure stuff out. Because this is my personal take. If they don't make the playoffs this year, I think they're moving off of Kyler Murray. I think this is Kyler Murray. I think they're kind of looking at this as Kyler Murray is let's see what you can do. If you can't bring us to the playoffs, I'm sorry, but you're just not the guy.
Yeah, is he too busy playing Call of Duty? Maybe.
Yeah, he's still.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
He's a good QB, but I don't know if he's only been to one.
The motivation.
The motivation, and also he's only brought you to the playoffs once, and they got absolutely dismantled by the Rams.
I remember that, and they were like 8-1 that year, weren't they? And then they ended
Yeah,
up just
yeah, they started
crumbling.
off really hot, and then
Yeah,
yeah,
they
it just
crumbled.
collapsed big time.
Yeah, it collapsed. Yeah, I think you're right on that situation. Like, I think this might be the year. Like, yeah, they want to build around it, but they paid him all that money, and it's been a few years, and people were hoping like Super Bowl predictions for them like a few years ago after some years that they had. But this, you're right. This is a big year for Kyler Murray. I think they move off of him too. That's a hot take we could say, or bold, or maybe they give him an extra year with Jonathan Gannon. But Jonathan Gannon just came in a couple years ago too, and he might want to get. He's like, hey, if it's not working out, I want another quarterback. Like, I want to get some stability here, where we have someone that's fully bought in, more than 100% committed. They may do something different there. So Arizona is pretty interesting, but you're right. I don't think they're ready yet, and they're going to be probably at the bottom of the division. Possibly, we could be wrong. Who knows? They can prove us all wrong. Now we're shifting gears to the Seahawks. Man, they got rid of Geno. Geno's a Raider now. He's in Vegas. They added Cooper Kupp. People are saying he's washed, but he could still play a little bit. Sam Darnold's there now, man. And he tore us up last year in week 2. But I know times have been different. He kind of crumbled in that wild card game against the Rams.
He did.
What do you think of the Seahawks and Mike McDonald, like the way he's building that defense like he did with Baltimore? What do you think of the Seahawks? Are interesting, in my opinion.
They are a very interesting team. You are right. Defensively, they definitely – we saw them play against the Niners. They definitely made it difficult at some moments.
They did.
But
they figured some stuff out. Yeah.
Yeah. But offensively, I think people are kind of overblowing them, in my opinion, because I'm not doubting Cooper Kupp. I think he'll have a slight bounce back year. The main thing that decides this team is going to be Sam Darnold. Because here's the thing about Sam Darnold. When he has time in the pocket, he's very dangerous.
I agree.
The moment an extra pass rusher comes, he looks like the Sam Darnold we saw in New York, where he was seeing ghosts, just didn't know where to, like, what to do. It's almost like his brain just malfunctioned or something.
Off. Yeah, it turned off.
It just turned off.
He was seeing ghosts, like when he went against that Patriots defense in Belichick.
Yeah.
You're absolutely, that Monday night game I watched, it was like 33-0, and he didn't know what the hell was going on. But you're right. You're definitely right, because he had a solid, like a top 5 offensive line in Minnesota, right? And nobody really figured him out. No one expected a year like that. He has the attributes, the physical attributes. The mind, yeah, it's there. He's smart. He can play. But once I think you figure him out, now he has like real tape and like expectations to be on him. We may see, like, I don't know, and it's a completely different team. The Seahawks, I think, will be okay, solid, but I don't think they'll be like over that hump, like we're expecting, like, hey, can they compete with the Niners and the Rams, like, realistically? I don't think so.
They'll be like
Rams and
continue.
Niners. No, go ahead. No, yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
They'll be like, they might sneak a game here and there, but I don't see them being a big threat.
Yeah. Like, you'd say like 7, 8, maybe 9 wins, like around there. I would say.
Yeah. They might be like a sneaky, like they might drop a big win here like once or twice, but I don't see them being like a huge threat to the Niners or just the NFC West in general.
Yeah, me too. I kind of see that too. I kind of see the West is just gearing up to be more of the Niners and the Rams. And then in the NFC East, what do you think of Dallas? And then the Eagles. I see the Eagles winning that division. Do you think Dallas finishes 3rd because the Commanders and Jaden Daniels, adding Debo, there's Scary Terry there. There were rumors of the Niners and Commanders swapping Ayuk and Terry McLaurin, but I don't even know why the Commanders would do that, because Ayuk's injured. We don't know how he's going to look after injury, right?
Yeah, but also, like, the reason why the Commanders are thinking about it is because they're having contract issues going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I want to say the Commanders finished first, but there are just some things that like just need to work out. But the reason why I don't say the Eagles, because it's the tradition of the NFC East. Every single year, it's always a different team that wins the division. It's never been back to back ever.
Yeah.
So I want to say it could be the Commanders, but at the same time, you are right. The Eagles still look very good. So I don't know. It's kind of up in the air at this point, like, in my opinion.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with you. I think, like, I still see Philly being solid, winning the division. They did lose a lot too. Like, they did add Jihad Campbell at linebacker, man, which was solid, man. I don't even know how, man. All these good players just dropped to Philly, right? Like how Jalen Carter fell at 8 to Philly, which was insane to me. I get it because of draft stock and what happened or whatnot, but dude, I think that division will be different. Who knows? The Cowboys and Dak Prescott being healthy again can be solid. You know, they did add George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb together, so we should see.
They could be a scary duo.
Yeah, they could be a scary duo. We forgot to mention the Seahawks did lose DK Metcalf too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah. And DK right now is better than Cooper Kupp, so that was kind of a minus in that. But they do have Jackson Smith and the Jigba, he's pretty good too. He's solid. Okay. Moving forward with that, I know, who do you expect to see, from the NFC South, man? Bucks again, Panthers up and coming with Bryce Young. You got the Falcons and Michael Penix. What do you expect to see in the South over there?
For me, it's easily the Falcons, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Michael Penix. He looked pretty good, but he did have some moments where he looked like a rookie quarterback. But overall, the Falcons are pretty kind of slept on. I could see them sneaking into the wild card, in my opinion, or winning win the division probably. But they look pretty good. The offense looks good. Bijan looks really great. They finally have a head coach that actually knows when and where to apply players, like how to use players properly instead of, using a fullback to score a touchdown on a 3rd and goal instead of using, the number 7 overall pick that you drafted in Bijan Robinson.
Bijan, man, he's solid, man. He's so shifty. Yeah, man, I definitely agree with that. I could see Falcons being sneaky and good. They did build their defense quite a bit too with Jalen Walker too, and adding some guys that they got. They also traded up, I think, in the first round and got someone. They're going to move off of Kirk Cousins and all that. What do you think of the Bucs though? Baker Mayfield found a home in Tampa. They've won back-to-back, over there in the division, and then the Saints also losing Derek Carr. And Derek Carr said, I didn't want to take the $30 million from the Saints and just retired, having a good career with him. But the Bucs, you think still solid? Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield and them, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin?
I mean, the Bucs are still a solid team. They're still definitely good, but I feel like I don't know if their goal is to go far in the playoffs. Their goal, I feel like if I was Tampa Bay, my goal would be, okay, the team I have is pretty good, but Mike Evans is getting up there in age. Chris Godwin is also getting up there in age. Yeah. Baker is a great QB, but can I trust him to win a Super Bowl? And I love Baker. I'm not hating on him. I love his comeback story and everything, but
me too.
But I don't know if I could trust him to he could probably take you to a Super Bowl, but I don't know if I could trust him to win it all for me.
Yeah, or NFC champ game, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But you're right. I agree with you on that. I expect him, I can make him playoffs for sure, and possibly an NFC champ game. He's been in the divisional round. He almost beat Detroit, and the Niners would have faced him in the NFC championship in 23, which would have been an interesting matchup. Or we would have it would have been interesting to see, how if he can make him, lift a team. I think if he has an elite defense, then he can probably lift the team. He needs to have a good, really, really, really good team around him to get to the dance, get to the Super Bowl. So yeah, that should be interesting from there, man. And I think from the North, it's going to be interesting with Detroit, Chicago, and Green Bay. And Minnesota with J.J. McCarthy, man, he was looking good in preseason. He was going to be the starter and everything until he tore his ACL, So
yeah,
they look interesting too. But, man, that division, man, do you still have Detroit coming out, or do you have Green Bay or Chicago?
I have Chicago winning that division.
You have Chicago? Oh, you got a hot take that's a bold take, man.
Yeah.
Damn. I like it. I like it a lot, man. I think, man, until I see it, man, until I see Detroit, fall off with their coordinators, with talent-wise, they're the best, right? And still have Dan Campbell. The head coach is still there. But, I mean, it'll be interesting because coordinators are important. They're very important schematically, defensively, and everything. So,
my bad. I just got to adjust.
No, you're good. You're good. We shall see, man. We shall see with what goes on in the NFC North. It's going to be pretty interesting with that division. I think Packers finished second again, and I do think the Lions end up winning that division. And I think Chicago can get into the playoffs still as the 3 seed in that division, but it can be a wild card team, you know? That's
No,
how I can
definitely.
see it. Yeah, that's how I can for surely see it. It should be interesting with that division. But yeah, going back to that, man, I think that's how we see with the NFC, man. I mean, it's still early to tell. Training camp hasn't even happened yet. AFC, I know we probably have our, our dogs in the Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, Chargers, Texans. Broncos are there. Who else do we have? Those are probably only like the solid teams that I think are probably going to come out of there, man. And then I also wanted to mention one more sponsor with Mohammed Shiraan, LawPro Legal Services. Takes care of evictions, disputes, 3-day and 30-day notices, residential, commercial, mobile home parks. You can call him at 916-709-5518. Once again, that's 916-709-5518. It's mshiran@yahoo.com. You can reach him out for any LawPro legal services needs. All right, Hussein, I think that'll probably do for us for the show, man. I really appreciate your time, man. We've gone over an hour on the ticker, man. I really appreciate everything, man. My good friend, man. I really appreciate everything that you came on and spending your time, taking your time out for me. I know you've been wanting to come on the pod, man, but, man, yeah.
Definitely.
Any final thoughts, bro?
No, man, I appreciate you for having me. This was fun. Hopefully we could do more future episodes together.
We will. We can do like more reaction videos, and then I'll have you come on with more people. I'm going to be having more guests. I like to tell people once again, more guests and more sponsors will be coming on, and we'll have more things with the NFL season coming up. The NBA draft is going to be coming up, and then training camp as well. I should be there too. I'll possibly would try to make it out to like a Niners training camp or and also possibly some regular season games. I'm really looking forward to the football season. So I like to appreciate it, man. Everybody for tuning in, all the live streamers with me, anyone that's watching, please like, subscribe, and share. You can follow me at Crossover Sports Talk. Also follow Hussein too. He's on Instagram too. Hussein, if you like to mention, you can mention your Instagram as well. Go ahead.
My Instagram is literally my first and last name. That's all it is.
Yeah,
it's nothing crazy. There. It's just you're saying Hiyasat.
Yeah, as long as you guys see his name right there, you guys can follow him on Instagram, with his sports talk needs, reach out to him for anything too as well. All right, guys, you guys have a good one. Everyone take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.